scarlet sun blazes over the spires of Luthadel. Ash falls from the sky. Mists creep through the blackened streets at night. A god tyrant sits, ruling over all. This is the final empire, a wasteland scorched by the 1,000-year reign of the Lord Ruler, where Ska slave away in the fields, void of all hope or joy, while nobles dine and dance through balls whose glistening decor barely hides the sinister political intrigue of high society. Yet, in the midst of this dark, desolate world, a pinprick light of hope still manages to shine from an unlikely corner of the gloom. A Ska thieving crew. Armed with the powers of a Mistborn and simple faith, Kelsier leads his crew of underdogs through an impossible heist that will destroy the oppressive regime, bring freedom to the Ska, and kill an immortal. But the Lord Ruler is powerful. His grip on the land is tight as the hangman's noose. Will the crew truly be able to bring justice, or will they simply die trying? Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is a young adult dystopian fantasy novel that draws on elements from the sci-fi and heist genres. It's told from a limited third-person point of view, but frequently switches which character it tells the story from, creating an incredible sense of suspense that makes the pacing faster and more engaging in spite of the book's rather high page count. The exciting storyline serves to deliver a powerful message about hope and love, reminding its readers that it is better to trust and to hold on to hope, even when we are betrayed, hurt, or simply feel it is too dark to carry on, than to live life in cynical, lonely misery, because there is always light, even in the darkest places. Or, as a wise terrace man once said, belief isn't simply a thing for fair times and bright days, I think. What is belief? What is faith? If you don't continue in it after failure. This idea is thoroughly explored through Vin's journey as a character. When Vin is first introduced, she is alone, constantly believing that everyone will betray her. She doesn't have hope that things will get better. She just wants to survive. However, as the story progresses, she begins to befriend the crew and learns to trust them. Through her friendships, she finds the hope and courage to fight, taking her from a terrified young Ska thief to a powerful warrior. This trend is seen in nearly every aspect of her story, including how she eats. Where once at the beginning of the novel she sat alone, far away from Cayman and the other crew members during supper, Vin now eats freely with her friends. For example, at the very start of the story, Vin is described as sitting in the corner, keeping to the shadows, avoiding the members of her crew because they aren't trustworthy. This continues on page 58 when she meets Kelsier and he invites her to drink with him. She responds with calculated silence, refusing to sit down without knowing it will be safe. She even makes him drink half of the vial of metals he gives her to make sure he isn't going to poison her. All of this clearly shows how distrustful and frightened she is at the beginning of her journey. However, Vin learns to trust the crew, even in the simple matter of food, such as when she actually invites the others to eat with her on page 278. Highlighting the stark contrast between her initial reluctance and skepticism and her newfound trust. When she eats with the crew, she is depicted as happier and more free, rather than lonely and scared, which translates to the rest of her life and the broader theme of the novel. The author also highlights Vin's journey with his use of inner dialogue. At the beginning of the story, we see long passages of thought and doubt and mistrust before Vin can utter even a single word. They reveal her hopelessness and resignation. For example, when Vin learns of a betrayal, she simply reminds herself that everyone betrays everyone else. That's just the way life is. She's saddened and disturbed by the idea, but powerless to change it. Anytime she meets someone, her first thoughts are, how are they going to betray me? What is their motive? Her first encounter with Kelsier leads her to wonder, how is this Kelsier going to use me? She doesn't understand how people like Kelsier can continue to love and trust in spite of past hurt and betrayal. But by the end, we can see that her trust in others has grown, and the way that she cares for others has also progressed, even when they let her down. She learns to care for them, even after they've hurt her deeply. This truly comes to a climax when one of the characters is about to die. He has hurt her deeply and betrayed her in an incredibly painful way, yet Vin still goes to save him. Someone complains, asking the same question she asked Kelsier earlier in the novel. Why would you continue to save someone who has betrayed you? Her thoughts reply, she's right. What do I owe him? The answer came immediately. I love him. This response truly shows just how far Vin has come, learning to love and trust so profoundly that even her own thoughts are affected. These thoughts and her growth as a character give her the hope and the courage to fight on, even in the face of insurmountable odds, even when facing a deity. Kelsier also exemplifies the theme in the way that he teaches Vin to trust. He has been hurt and betrayed many times before, just like Vin, but Kelsier continues to care about others, saying how, given the choice between loving, betrayal included, and never knowing her, I'd choose love. This dialogue shows how Kelsier has been deeply hurt by the people he loves, and yet he continues to love and trust because he believes that that is a better way to live. This love allows him to have hope that he can succeed, and that hope gives him the ambition and daring to attempt something as massive as overthrowing the Lord Ruler, a quest that would bring him true greatness. So it is no surprise that Brandon chooses to show how this love elevates him, marking him for greatness not only mentally, but physically. Kelsier has scars running up and down the length of his forearms, trophies from time spent crawling through the pits of Hath's Inn, a brutal place of torment where the Lord Ruler sends criminals to die. Sazed, one of the characters, sums up the truth behind Kelsier's scars when he says, I sense that the scars he bears from that horrid place go much deeper than the ones you see on his arms. These scars represent the pain that comes from loving someone. There in the pit, Kelsier experienced hopelessness and betrayal that caused his trust to waver. However, through this pain, he gains new strength and power. He gains hope and the determination to rise up and fight for the things that he believes in. This change would have been impossible, save for the love and ensuing heartbreak that brought him lasting hope. So, to wrap up, Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, The Final Empire, is a thrilling young adult fantasy novel. It features two Mistborn, Vin and Kelsier, who work together with a Ska thieving crew to take down the Lord Ruler. Through Sanderson's use of literary patterns like communion, marked for greatness, as well as the powerful internal and external dialogue, he is able to truly captivate the audience as we watch Vin grow and learn the powerful lesson that it is better to trust, hope, and be betrayed than to be lonely and hopeless. If you like intricate world building, shocking plot twist, and heartfelt characters with a healthy dose of action, check out Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Thank you.